Welcome to Initial P, a podcast about, obviously, cars. My name is Ian, one of the hosts,
And I'm Nathan.
and on this show, on this first episode especially, we're going to be talking about the history of cars.
So the ancient Romans, they had racing too. It's like an example. So they had chariots and they raced in the Colosseums. But the first modern race happened in France in 1895. It was held from Paris to Bordeaux, France, and back the distance of 1,178 kilometers.
Racing was then created by James Gordon Bennett. At this time, newspapers were sponsoring these races, and the Automobile Club de France organized the first Bennett Trophy races in 1901, 1902, and 03. All of this happened mainly in Ireland and Germany.
So for our next podcast, we're going to be talking about, or we're going to be arguing about, which is better, NASCAR or Formula One. So Ian's going to be talking about Formula One, and I'm going to be talking about NASCAR. And so, just to give you a little history about NASCAR right now, on February 15th, 1948, the first official NASCAR race was held on the beach of Daytona.
Formula One was first defined in 1946 by the Commission Sportive Internationale, or the CSI, of the FIA, the forerunner of the FISA. It became the premier single-seater racing category in a worldwide motorsport that became effective in 1948. In the beginning, Formula One was largely based on the pre-World War II regulations that was defined by engine capacity. The regulation was expected to bring a new balance between supercharged and naturally aspirated cars. And then on September 1st, 1946, at the Turin GP, the first race under new regulations was held.
So just like any great motorsports, they all have some famous drivers. I'm going to list off the top 10 that I found that are basically the best drivers in all NASCAR so far. But my personal favorite, Jeff Gordon, which I've known him, or not known him, but I've watched him drive for years. Then the next one is David Pearson. Then Dale Earnhardt Jr., Sr., not Jr. Richard Petty, or the most people call him in NASCAR the King. Well, I made a little mistake, not top 10, top 5, but now Ian's going to tell us some famous race car drivers in Formula One.
My colleague was saying, I'm going to tell you about some of the top drivers in Formula One, and as much as I hate to admit this first one of the top drivers is Lewis Hamilton, apparently. I don't know how. He's an average driver in an OP car. And then his teammate, Nico Rosberg. This is in no particular order, I should mention. Then there's Sebastian Vettel, who is a driver for Ferrari. Kimi Räikkönen, who I also believe is a Ferrari driver. Max Verstappen, Nico Hülkenberg, Sergio Perez, Julian Palmer, Daniel Kvyat, plenty of other drivers. Roman Grosjean, he's one. And I can't forget one of my, I guess you could say, personal favorites, only because he drives the infamous McLaren Hondas, which lawnmower life, am I right? Anyways.
So that will be the end of our first podcast.